Let's talk about networks today. What's a social network? It's a social arrangement of people, groups, or organizations, or other social units that interact and engage in exchanges to achieve their purpose. These agencies or organizations may have differing missions, but join networks to help meet their common objectives. So what's networking? It's the assessment, development, and maintenance of the network. There are examples of networks in your folders. Some of the most important networks you will use as a professional will be your own personal networks. It will be to your benefit to keep track of the people you know and the agencies they work for. Someday you'll be able to help a client or further your cause by telling or calling one of these people. The theory behind networking is social exchange theory. According to the Psychology Dictionary, social exchange theory proposes that social behavior is the result of an exchange process. The purpose of the exchange is to maximize benefits and minimize costs. When the risks outweigh the rewards, people will terminate or abandon their relationships in the network. There are 12 dimensions inherent in networks. The first is domain. It's a territory over which rule or control is exercised, or a sphere of activity over the function. Network members need to have a common understanding and agreement as to their shared concerns, the expected activity, and the territory over which they have control. The second is reciprocity and exchanges. They should be as balanced as possible in order to create a stable network. For example, 3 large agencies and 1 small agency form an alliance or a network. The 3 large agencies potentially have more power because they have more resources, but the smaller agency may be able to equalize that power by supplying the services of a special consultant or have certain clinical expertise. Needless to say, any network is more successful if there is interdependency and where power and influence are shared. Cohesion is the internal bonding strength of a network. I believe this is the most important thing to remember for the current and future practitioners. Practitioners need to seek cohesive networks and create opportunities for fair exchanges and more personalized interactions. Symmetry is the degree to which the resources of the network are distributed equally. The next dimension, density and structural complexity, relates directly to cohesion. Density is the number of relationships that exist in a network. A network will be more effective if there are fewer required relationships. That makes face-to-face exchanges more possible. There are different network structural configurations. The chain type has the tendency to leave the members on the outer edge marginalized. The star structure control is central, and all members have to go through the center to get anything done. The group structure has no central management. Here's what I consider to be the bottom line. When tighter control is necessary, network design should have a position with centrality. And every network does have a locus of authority. It may be internal and it may be external. When the authority is external, the rules and objectives are determined outside the network. Now, one of the things to remember about networks is they don't always run easy. Competition and conflict can arise when members perceive unfairness, when ideological differences arise, or when members feel other members are failing to fulfill their responsibilities in the network. It can also occur when resources become scarce or when they increase. When there is a conflict, several possible strategies come into play. They may sound similar to you because you've learned about personal conflict management: retreat, accommodation, bargaining, subjugation. Social support networks, a little bit different, provide us with a sense of community, of acceptance, and of being cared for. These networks can consist of friends, family, or people who share the same problems and need encouragement and support, information, or supports like food and shelter and health care. One example in the mental health system here in Maine are the peer support centers and social clubs. Another type of organization is the new social movement. These organizations are very political, and their purpose is to create and pursue a change agenda. They represent groups of individuals who share common values and needs. Now let's talk a little bit about marketing. In an article published in 1969, Kotler and Levy introduced the concept of social marketing. Social marketing, briefly, is based on the fact that there should be a voluntary behavior change, that there should be a benefit involved, but that it must use the standard techniques of marketing strategies, and that the ultimate goal is to improve individual or community welfare. So it's a concept, and I'm quoting, of promoting social ideas to influence people's perceptions, values, and attitudes. Now, in order to do that, social issues have to be identified and staged, and then general marketing strategies applied as part of the solution. Here are some essential features of a social marketing campaign. The program is good for all of society, not just the target audience. And you need to apply what are considered the 4 P's of marketing. What's your product? What's the price? How do you promote it? And where? So first you need to identify your target market when you're doing social marketing. Who are the people who are reachable and interested in the exchange? Remember when we talked briefly about the exchange theory, which is the process of obtaining a desired product by offering something of value to another party. There are some challenges in social marketing, and here are a few. First, the tendency of a social organization to look inward and think we know best. We know how to solve this. Not only as a profession, but as an agency. Professional orientation. Our professional orientation knows best. The assumption of consumer ignorance. That's changing in today's mental health world for certain. The aversion to selling that is common in the human services field. The just general aversion to marketing. And the decreasing prestige of some social service organizations. And finally, the regulations often prohibit some kinds of marketing. Public perception about the marketing strategy. And sometimes the conflicting or multiple goals that any one organization has. So, if you're trying to market your social organization, adopt a consumer orientation